Hello and welcome to session 8 of using VBA in PowerPoint 2013 from the ground up. Today we are going to look into the if then else statement. We'll also take a look into the various looping techniques and we'll end this session with the with block. So we have a lot of things to do today. Let's get started. The first thing that we are going to look into is the if then else statement. So let's quickly get into the VBA editor and take an example there. So let us start a subroutine saying sub if then else, right? So let's quickly see how an if then else statement is executed. So what it does is it checks for a criteria, and if the criteria is met, it executes a set of instructions. If it's not met, then it goes to the next line where it says if this is not correct, what else, right? So we'll see how to write that code. So let's declare a variable called age. Check dim age as byte. Okay, let's ask the user to input his age. So we'll say age is equal to input box, enter your age, right? Then we'll check based on this age whether the user is a minor or an adult or a senior person, right? To do that, let's write if bage is less than 18, then put a message box saying you are minor, right? Then we'll check if the user is less than 65 years old. So we'll say else if pH is less than 65, then write message box you are adult, right? Then if the user is not less than 18, neither he is less than 65, then we will say else message box you are senior, right? This means the user is more than 65 years old, and with this we'll end the if statement, right? So this is a simple example of the if then else statement. So let's execute it and see what it gives us. Let's use the debug mode, press F8. It says enter your age. So let me write 7, okay, and click OK. Then it comes here and checks if the age is less than 18. It is less than 18, so it says message box you are minor. So let's press OK, and it comes to end if because the criteria was made in the first statement itself, right? Alright, let's run it again and see. So let's press F8. This time let's put a different age and check. Let's put 45. Say OK. It comes here. It checks if it is less than 18. Since it is not less than 18, it goes to the next line of code where it says check else if age is less than 65, which is correct. So it goes into the code and it says message box you are an adult. Alright, let's now input an age which is more than 65. Let's say 70. Press OK. Let's see how it works. So it checks if it is less than 18, which is not. Then it checks if it is less than 65. This time we have input 70, so it is not less than 65. Then it goes to the last statement where it says else you say you are senior, right? Say OK. Alright, so this is a simple if then else statement. We'll take a look into it once we have gone through the loops. We'll combine a loop and the if then else statement. We'll see how the two work together, right? So as we saw in a simple if then else statement, it says if the criteria is met, then do a job. If it is not met, else do not do the job or do something else, right? And we end the if statement. Okay, now we move into looping. We'll see a few different kind of loops. So let's get into the VBA editor and get started. We'll start with a simple do loop. So let's write a subroutine saying do loop. The construction of a do loop is do, then you write all the statements that you want to repeat, then you say loop, right? Now let's say do message box hello world and loop it, right? So let's press F8 and see what happens. When I press F8, it goes to do, it goes to the message box, it says hello world. Okay, it comes to loop and it loops again. So if you see here, it is looping this message box as long as we're pressing the F8 button. So it will continue looping through the message box because we have not given any criteria. It is not meeting any criteria and it is not able to come out of the do loop, right? So we'll see how to use a criteria and limit the number of times a loop is executed, right? Okay, there are two different loops that we can use to insert a criteria into the do loop. The first one is do until and the other one is do while. So we'll see both the ways of using a criterion in a do loop. So to do that, let's go to our presentation. We have added a slide with a few shapes into it. There are 10 shapes in total. So we'll use our do until loop to change the color of this shapes here, right? So let us declare a variable first. Let's say dim bb as white. Okay, so let's say do until bb is equal to 11, then we'll say loop to end the loop. Now inside the loop we need to increase the value of the variable bb every time we loop, right? So let's say bb is equal to bb plus 1. Similarly we need to initiate the value of bb. So let's type bb is equal to 1. Alright, now here we are going to write our statement using which we are going to change the color of these shapes. So we'll write active presentation dot slides, and right now we are working in slide number 7. So we'll say slide 7 dot shapes. Now here we are going to use our variable which is going to change every time we use the loop. So we'll say bb dot fill dot forecolor dot RGB is equal to RGB, anything you can put 35.67. So this is our statement which we are going to loop through all these shapes in our slide. So let's press F8 and see how it works. So here the variable bb has a value of 1. We get into the loop, we change the color of the first shape here, right? Here we are increasing the value of bb by 1, so it becomes 2 now. So it will go to the shape 2 and it has changed the color of shape 2 here. Similarly, if we press F8, it will continue looping through all the shapes in the slide and it will change the color of these shapes in it, right? So right now the value of BB is 9, so it's going to change the color of the 9th shape. Now the value of BB is 10, so it's going to change the color of the 10th shape. Now when we execute this line of code where the value of BB is increased by 1, it becomes 11. So we have said do until BB is 11. Right now BB is 11, so it will skip the loop and come out of it and go to the next line of code, which is end sub, right? So this is how you use a do until loop. Similarly, you can also use a do while loop. So let's see how that works. So in place of until, we will write do while BB is not equal to 11, right? The moment it is equal to 11, you have to come out of the loop. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Here also we have the same 10 shapes, and we'll change the code a little bit here. This is slide number 8, and we'll execute these statements. Okay, let's press F8 again. So here the value of BB is 0 because it's not initiated. Once you run this code, it will be 1, right? So I've assigned the value 1 to BB. Let's press F8. Okay, so it has changed the color of the first shape. There goes the second. And similarly, when you run through the code, it loops across all the shapes in the slide and it changes the color until the value of BB is 10, right? Now when you execute this line of code, the value of BB becomes 11. So when you come to do while BB is not equal to 11, it will exit the loop and go to the next line of code, which is end sub, right? So this is how you use do while. Okay, so next we'll see if we are using a do loop, and we'll see how to come out of a do loop using a criteria which is written inside the loop, right? So let's write the same code again, saying do and loop, right? We'll move to the next slide where again we have the 10 shapes. Let us copy the same line of code here again, right? And this time we are working on slide 9. Now we are going to check the value of BB inside this loop, right? So we'll say if BB is equal to 11, then exit do. So what it will do is it will check if the value of BB becomes 11 and it will exit the do loop. Until then it will loop through the code given inside the do loop, right? So let's increase the value of BB every time we run through the code. BB is equal to BB plus 1. Okay, so let's see how it works. Let's use F8 once more. It has changed the color of shape 1. It has increased the value of BB to 2. So when we loop through the code, we see each of the shapes getting filled with a different color, right? So now the value of BB is 10, right? Okay, so the difference between the previous two loops and this one is that it will still enter the loop, right? And once it enters the loop, it will check for this criteria if BB is equal to 11. Earlier when BB was equal to 11, it was coming straight out of the loop, right? Now it is getting to the loop and checking the value of BB. It says it is equal to 11, so it will exit the loop, right? It goes to exit 2 and it comes to the next line of code, which is ends up. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to see is the for next loop. The for next loop is very frequently used in any programming language, so let's see how that works. So let us comment this out and move to the next slide. This slide number 10, right? Okay, to write a for next loop, we start writing for VB is equal to 1 to 10. We're going to check for the 10 shapes that we have added to the slide. 10 here, and I say next VB, right? So this is the construction of for next loop, and inside this you write your code. So it's the same code here again. Let's change the number of slide. We're working on slide number 10 now. So let's use F8 again and see how this works. So it has changed the color of shape 1, shape 2, 3. It does the same for all the shapes until shape 10. Now the value of BB is 10. Here you need to notice that we have not added the line BB is equal to BB plus 1. That means in a for next loop, the value of the variable is incremented automatically by 1. So when it goes past next, the value of the variable increases by 1. So when I press F8 once more, VB becomes 11 and it does not enter the loop anymore, right? So now we'll look into the last loop that we are talking about, the for each loop. This is used in VBA, work with a lot of shapes or a lot of objects in one single class. Like right now we are working on different shapes in a single slide. We can use the for each loop. To use that, let's remove all this. Let us declare one more variable called shape. Let's say dim shp as shape. Then we'll write for each shape in active presentation dot slides. We'll work on slide number 11 now. Dot shapes. Then close it with next shape. Here you will write shape dot fill dot forecolor dot RGB is equal to RGB. Let's give a different color now, 125 to 1. Okay, so it will be something reddish. Okay, now let's run this code and check how it works. Let's use F8. So it comes to the loop, it gets into it and changes the color of the first shape, right? So it will loop through all the shapes in the active presentation slide number 11, right? See, it's moving from one shape to other. The moment it has colored all the shapes, it will come out of the loop and go to the next statement, which is ends up, right? So I hope you have a good understanding of the loops. Now let's get into the next thing on the agenda, which is the with block. Now the with block executes a series of statements that repeatedly refer to a single object. So we have taken an object, then we have done one job, then we do one more job, then we say end with, right? So let's see how it works in real time. Let's get to the VBA editor. Let's write a new subroutine for the with block. With block, right? Here we have added one slide and there is a shape into it and there is something written on the shape, right? We'll change parameters of this shape using a with block, right? So let's write dim my shape as shape. So we declared a variable. We're going to assign the shape that we have inserted in the slide to this variable. So write set my shape equal to active presentation dot slides. We are working with slide number 13 now. Slides 13 dot shapes. There's only one shape in that. That's my shape, right? Now I'm going to change a few things about my shape using a with block. So we'll write with my shape dot fill dot forecolor dot RGB is equal to RGB 208, 68, 36, right? So this will change the forecolor of the shape. We'll also change the top alignment. We'll say dot top equal to, let's say, 300. Similarly, let's change the left alignment equal to 200, right? And also let's change the font size of the shape. Let's say dot text effect dot font size is equal to 72, right? And end with. So here, if you notice, the variable my shape has all these properties: fill, top, left, and text effect. To call in all these properties, I've just used a dot, which is connecting this property with this variable here, or this object here. So otherwise I would have written my shape dot fill, my shape dot top, my shape dot left, and my shape dot text effect. Rather than writing the same thing 4 times, I have used a with block to change the properties of the object my shape. So let's run this and see how it works. So if I press F8 now, and it goes into the with block, it changes the fill color, the top and the left, and it changes the font size as well. It goes to the next line. Okay, so this is how you use a with block. This is a simple example just to introduce you to the with block. You can do a lot of more things using the with block here. So as promised earlier, we'll take an example here now where we'll use the if else then statement with a loop to name these 3 shapes in the slide. So we'll check whether it is the first circle, second circle, or the third circle using a loop within an if then else statement. So let's get into the VBA editor and write the code first, then we'll execute and see how the two work together. So let's write a new subroutine saying sub if then else loop, right? We will use the do until loop to do this exercise. So let us first declare a variable saying dim b as byte. Let's assign a starting value to the variable b is equal to 1. So we'll loop the code until b is equal to 4, because we have 3 shapes and we do not want to check more than 3 shapes, right? So let's end the loop here, and before ending the loop we need to increase the value of b by 1. So we'll write b is equal to b plus 1, right? So here we are going to check if it is the first circle, second circle, or the third circle that it is looping through. So we'll say if active presentation dot slides, this is number 5 dot shapes, the number of shape is b, that's our variable, dot text frame dot text range dot text is equal to 1. Then put a simple message box saying first circle. Okay. Else if active presentation dot slides dot shapes b dot text frame dot text range dot text is equal to 2. Then here we are checking the text inside the shape. If it is 2, we'll say message box second circle, right? Then we'll say else, write a message box third circle, because it is quite obvious that if it is not 2 or 1, it has to be 3, right? So here written else, put a message box saying third circle. So let's close the if statement here. So this is our code. So let's run this code using the debug mode, pressing F8 and see how it works. So let's press F8. Here it initializes the variable b. So it checks the first shape and it sees that the text is 1 here. So it will say first circle, right? Then it will come out of the if statement. Then here we are again increasing the value of b. It has become 2 now, and we are looping again. Now here it is checking the shape 2. So shape 2 value is 2, right? This is not the first circle, so it should skip this, and it has come to the next criteria. So next criteria says check if it is 2, which is true here. So it will give a message box saying second circle. Okay. Then it again comes out of the if statement. And here again we are going to increase the value of b by 1. So it becomes 3. So it gets into loop again because b is not equal to 4 as of now, right? So it checks the first criteria which is not met, it checks the second criteria which is not met again, then it goes saying if those two criteria are not met, then give this message box saying third circle. Okay, and it comes out of the if statement. Then it goes to b and increases the value of b by 1. Now when it loops, it sees that the value of b has become 4. So it has to loop through this code until the value becomes 4. Since it has become 4 now, it will come out of the loop and go to the next line of code, which is ends up. Okay, so I hope this session was useful to you. We have learned a lot of things today. We've seen if then else statement, we have seen various kind of loops used in VBA, and we have also seen the with block. I hope you can use these concepts in your code while using VBA in PowerPoint 2013. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to our channel. We'll be bringing you more such videos in the coming weeks. If you have any comments or suggestions or any specific questions, please use the comment section below, and we'll be very happy to answer back to you. Thanks for watching. We'll be back soon. Till then, take care, have fun, bye bye.